first, before we get into it, give us an update on Jose Altuve. Just had surgery to relieve that right foot discomfort. How's your boy?
He's doing well. This is something that has been hampering for a little bit for a couple of weeks, and obviously he finished his season playing through it. And we actually went in there yesterday and we got a little bit of work done trying to clean the area. But he's doing well. He should be back moving around and continue his off season workouts here in the next week or two.
Joe, first of all, I want to say thank you for reaching out because,
Yeah.
I don't like asking for people's phone numbers, especially managers, because then people, sometimes people are like, oh, you want a job? No, I don't want a job. But
No,
you did.
you and I, we talked about it during the
No, I
season.
know.
And you invited me to the show, and I'm like, you know what? During the off season, we could do it. And I think this is a really great show. The dynamic between you and everyone on the show is great. So, it's an opportunity for me to come here and talk about our club.
Well, I appreciate it. Like I said, that's why I was thanking you for reaching out and coming on, being a man of your word. So I appreciate that. Yes, Altuve will be fine. He's going to hit 300. He's going to get 180 to
That's right.
200 hits next year. He's fine. I don't worry about him. But you have new coaches, right? You brought
Yeah.
in some new coaches. Can you tell us about your staff and how do you go about hiring new coaches, especially from guys that you've had around for a long time? You've been around for a while, and then they're gone, and you have new faces.
AJ, that's a good question. For me is trying to, our identity back on who we are as a club. I've been here for 8 years, and our offense is great when we control the pace of the game and we all working together and we trying to win every at bat, every pitch. We trying to win first base. And I thought that we just needed a new voice when he came to on that aspect of our offense. And I can't, Alex Intron and Troy Snicker, tremendous hitting coaches. We've been part of an incredible run here, and they deserve a lot of credit to what we have accomplished. But I thought in this time that it was important for us just to bring a set of a new set of voices that can get our guys going again. And our group is changing a little bit. We got some younger players coming. We got some veteran players that I thought bringing a different way of doing things can get us back and getting our offense back and scoring a ton of runs.
Is this something that you saw possibly needing to change during the season? Or was it sometimes when changes need to be had, it kind of happened a year or two before and you're like, hey, you know what? We stayed the course. We still had success. Or was it something that kind of changed this year when you lose a guy like Yordan Alvarez, when you trade a guy like Tucker?
Yeah, Kratz, it's a good question, and I think if we would have had those guys healthy the entire year, I think the outcome of our season would have been different. For me as a manager, and I'm in this position where I got to evaluate our staff. We as an organization we evaluate in the direction that we want to go. This next wave for players that are coming, right? Do we have the right people in place to help us into the future? So this is something that we discussed for a while, and we end up, this decision was not easy to make.
Let me ask you this. When I think of the Houston Astros, Joe, I think it is synonymous with postseason play. And this season
Yeah.
was the first time since 2016 you guys haven't been in it. I don't even remember 2016. It feels like that long ago since you guys were not in the postseason. What was that like? Because you were still in it at the end. What was that like for
Yeah,
you as a manager? Because folks take it for granted that you're just always going to be there.
right. And it was very difficult. Trust me, it was not easy sitting at the house, watching postseason from the couch. Our players, obviously, it's something that we're not used to. This is going to create, it's going to put a chip on our shoulders. We want to get back. We know that we are a postseason team, and but it was not fun at all. We know exactly the things that we need to get on, starting to getting healthy, trying to keep our players on the field. Building a team that could sustain 162, hopefully 180 games. So that's our focus. But it was not easy. I've been here now. This is my 8th season, and all we've known is postseason baseball. And our fans deserve that. Our organization deserves that, and most importantly, our players deserve that.
Okay, first of all, I've done the Houston Astros my entire postseason career. So this is the first year where normally my plane just takes off and just goes whatever plane I'm on. It just goes to Houston, right? But this year I was going to Seattle, and they were like, we might have to make a landing to drop somebody off in Houston. I was like, wait, what? I'm not going to Houston. So I don't know if it was my fault, Joe, or what, but I apologize that you guys didn't make the playoffs because I've stayed enough at that 4 seasons right there that I have frequent flyer. I don't know if you have, although 4 seasons doesn't really do that. So that's not your problem. So I apologize that my plane tried to make an emergency landing so that you guys didn't make it. I apologize. But what I want to know is you brought
AJ,
something up.
I won't hold that. I won't hold that against you. There's a lot of things that happen throughout the season, and we learn from those things. And trust me, our focus right now is trying to make those things better, getting our players ready to play. I can't wait to get to spring training.
Dude, you're one of the most positive people I've ever been around in my life, okay? But you brought something up just a second ago, and I got to ask you. You said we're focused on getting players. All right, so give us the inside scoop. Dana Brown's not going to tell us, so Joe Espada, is Verlander coming back? Are you guys bringing Kyle Tucker back? Are you guys going and getting Bo Bichette to play? I don't know where, but he'll play somewhere, right? Who are you guys going to get? Tell us now.
You know what? I'm going to keep those. I'm going to keep those names to myself. But one thing I do tell you is that we are always, Dana and the front office. We're always looking for ways to improve our club. We have a very a strong core of players that we're very excited about. We got some younger players that we are going to give opportunities for them to develop at the major league level, and they're going to help us win games. But we are looking for ways to improve our club, either position player wise, and right now our main focus is on the pitching side of things. Obviously, there's someone like Framber Valdez who's going to be a free agent. We continue to speak to his camp about ways to bring him back if that's a possibility. But we're looking for ways to improve our club. We have a team that is ready to compete next season, and we still feel like that we're in a position to win the West. So we're going to look for every avenue that we can to improve our club.
All right, improving the club. When you talk about young guys, obviously the first name that comes to my mind is a guy you talked about in spring training, Cam Smith.
Right.
Cam Smith, what does he need to, I'm not going to say work on, but when you look at his numbers, you would say, okay, it's a tale of like 3 seasons, a slow start, hot middle, slow finish. What on the field do you need to see from him to be that star? I think your exact quote was, he can be a star one day. It's up to him. Or, once he learns, I forget exactly what you said, but what do you need to see from him on the field? Obviously his work, everybody's talked about his makeup, everything is off the charts. On the field, though.
You know what? For me, Kratz, you guys play in the big leagues for a long time. You and AJ, and as a manager, you need to have 2 things when it comes to young players. For me, is you need to give them time, and you need to be patient. We cannot rush those 2 things, right? I think if we put Cam in a position for him to succeed and give him time, he has the work ethic. He has the ability to do it, but we need to give this process some time. This is just going to be his sophomore year in the big leagues, and I think his freshman year was a solid season. Is it more in there? Absolutely, but he barely played minor league baseball. He came into camp. He won a spot. We believe in him. We believe in his ability to be a right fielder for the future. But we just need to allow him to learn the league. He came out on the bat really well, and the league. What happens? The league's going to adjust to you, and he just needs to figure out a way to adjust to the league and what they're trying to do on the offensive side. And he is going to be able to do that. My job is to continue to provide an environment where he could be himself. He can continue to develop to the players that we know he can be, and just be patient. This kid's going to be a star, and I'm just super excited about the future. What holds up for him.
Holiday shopping season is here, and we have you covered from head to toe.
Let's talk about an area that's not quite close to the toes. Let's get crazy with this holiday season. Yeah, that's MeUndies I'm spinning around, but the holiday season, Now you can get MeUndies with some holiday prints on them.
That's right, ridiculously soft fabric holiday prints, matching holiday prints with your special person, or you can coordinate PJs for the family photo. And right now you can get up to 50% off with the code FOUL. We rock MeUndies. You should too. We're talking over 30 million pairs sold. Knock out all your holiday gifting needs today with MeUndies to get exclusive holiday deals up to, yep, I said it, 50% off. Go to MeUndies.com/foul and enter promo code FOUL. That's MEUNDIES.com/FOUL. Promo code FOUL for up to 50% off.
Dana Brown said that you guys need to firm up the offseason this winter. What does that mean to you?
You know what, and I think that's one of the aspects, right? Obviously Ken Smith is one of those guys that we want to give him the opportunity to take over that right field spot and run with it. And again, it's about being patient and allow him to do that. And I think this offseason is very important for him to take to grab right field and run with it. I think there's opportunity. We want to create opportunities for players like Zach Cole and Jacob Melton. They're dynamic players. They bring speed and they bring some power from the left side, something that we need in our offense to be a little bit more dynamic, to be able to take our game to the next level on the base path, be that athletic team that we've been in the past. And we have the pieces to do that. Another name that comes to mind is somebody like Bryce Matthews, who came in and pretty much won us a series in Arizona. Creating more opportunity for these players to develop, help us win games, and at the same time, those players will help me give our veteran players some time to rest and recover in a very long season.
All right. On this show, we've talked about it, and it's a discussion I even had when I was playing. My opinion, there's usually 8 to 10 aces, true aces, in the game of baseball. Depends. It fluctuates every year. Is Hunter Brown an ace? And if not,
absolutely,
an ace in the game?
Yes, I believe so. And not. I'm going to take away the performance. Like you do need to perform, right? I think performance goes with that description that you just said, right? You have to perform, but there's also an element that A's bring to a team which is every day he steps on the baseball field, the dynamic, the environment, the clubhouse just changes. We all feel like we're going to win that game, right? You go through stretches of games where you're not playing well. You can't wait for that ace to get on the mound so it could change the course of the series or the week, right? That's the description of an ace. That's number one. Number two, he brings this element of like humility, arrogance to him, where it's contagious to everyone, right? He's got an edge to him. JV had that edge. Garrett Cole has that edge, that level of confidence where he knows that today we have to win this game. Today I'm going to give our club 6-7 innings because our bullpen needs it, our team needs it, and Hunter Brown has developed into that A's mentality. And from moving on, now he's got to continue that consistency in his preparation and discipline. It's what is going to keep him in that level where when we talk about the A's, the Scoobals of the world, those guys are on a different level because of how consistent they are, not only on the performance but in their preparation.
All right, I got to ask about a guy who was your number one for a few years, got into a sticky situation. The Framber cross-up, no cross-up on the show as catchers. I had some heated words about it. How did you handle that as a manager? How did you handle that when you saw it? Did you have the same feeling when you went back and saw it on video?
Chrissy, as the manager of the team, I want to hear from both sides, right? I know the type of competitor that Framber Valdez is. I've known him for a very long time. This guy cares about winning. He's a competitor when he's on the mound. So instead of me reaching conclusions without talking to both Sally and Valdez, that's the way I diffused the situation. Obviously, Salazar was not happy about it, and I brought both guys in my office, and I wanted to hear from both sides. I wanted to, what happened? Was it a cross up? And both guys said, Joe, yes, there was some miscommunication, and he threw the wrong pitch. I wanted to hear from both. I wanted to bring the fire down because I know how heated the whole entire situation was. Also, we were playing the Yankees at the time, right? So when I come in my office after the game, it was a tough loss. I knew what social media was saying, right? I sat down with my PR department, and I knew I was going to be asked about this. So before I spoke to the media and I spoke to the rest of some of my players, I wanted to hear from both of them, and that's who went down. I think both players handled it well. Listen, we are a family, and during the season, stuff is going to happen, and there's fights between brothers, and this is what happens when you want to win so bad. Um, but we were able to turn the corner right around. The next day we came back and we beat the Yankees, and we continue to move on, and because we know how important it is to have everyone working together. So the whole entire scene did not look great, and I understand. But I think once I spoke with both players and both players got on the same page, and we were able to move on.
Joe, along those same lines, you know Framber better than anybody. We're not in the dugout. We're not in the clubhouse. Outside of the Houston Astros organization, there's a bit of a reputation that he's not a great teammate. I don't believe that you think that's the case, but I would rather hear it from you. What is he like as a teammate? I mean, he's a free agent, so what can people expect from Framber Valdez if he's part of their organization?
I'll tell you what, if I'm a manager of the team, I want him on my team. I'm going to start with that. When he is on the mound, he's going to post, he's going to give you everything he's got. Right. For me, as what the definition of a great teammate is where people just have different definition. They see it differently than everyone. Framber Valdez is well respected in our clubhouse. He's got a ton of friends. His work ethic is impeccable. He's strong as a bull. He poses every day. He wants the ball. He's someone who I want to go on a battlefield with. So I understand the reputation because of one event, one thing that happened, and people might reach conclusion to that. But I've been around him for 6, 7 years, and if I want to go into a dogfight, I want this guy to be right there next to me.